The ways a film stages a shot, arranges a sequence, executes a scene, is almost directly linked to the director. This idea is called the auteur theory. The auteur theory was developed by a French screenwriter named François Truffaut. Truffaut published his ideas in a 1954 essay called Une certaine tendance, or A Certain Tendency in French Cinema. In these works, Truffaut claimed that film was a great medium for expressing the personal ideas of the director. This notion can be heavily supported by the works of Alfred Hitchcock. The auteur theory suggests that a director can use the commercial apparatus of filmmaking in the same way that a writer uses a pen or a painter uses paint. Auteur theory suggests that the best films will bear their maker's signature, which may manifest itself as the stamp of his or her individual personality or perhaps even focus on recurring themes within the body of work. Alfred Hitchcock plays this idea up in most of his movies, where he makes sure that he appears on screen in a brief cameo spot. And what is even more interesting is the symbolism behind certain cameos that reflect larger topics. For example, the image of a bird is recurrent throughout certain of Hitchcock's cameos. In To Catch a Thief, there are two caged birds nearby. This use of bird imagery is obviously expanded later during Hitchcock's work in The Birds. The caged birds are no longer caged. Symbolism of birds is an obvious mark of Hitchcock's work, as his signature is always marked by that symbolism. Hitchcock's works are inundated with themes and elements of his life. During the 1920s, Hitchcock was sent to Babelsberg Studios in Berlin. Here he became experienced with some expressionistic set designs for the film The Blackguard. This film was widely appreciated by the German audiences, who had been significantly influenced by the horror film genre and film noir. This film influenced Hitchcock to include expressionist elements to his work. In Psycho, the shadow of Marion's assailant is reminiscent of an iconic scene of the shadow of Nosferatu, a German expressionist film of 1922. Hitchcock has explicitly stated that his adaptation to techniques of German expressionism were not coincidental. Hitchcock's filmmaking has in its turn influenced many other filmmakers, and so has been one of the vehicles which have propelled German expressionist techniques into the present day. It is assumed that no aspect of Hitchcock's films are coincidental.
The poisoned wine situation, or the drugged wine, the character usually picks it up and goes like that and says, oh, by the way, and you said this, and he does this about a half a dozen times, which is such a cliche. So I decided to avoid that cliche and merely leave the wine there untouched until the last minute. But in order to keep the audience reminded of it, I photographed the scene, part of the scene, through the two glasses. So that will keep the audience saying, well, when are they going to pick up the drugged wine?
Elements influenced by genres are incorporated, but Hitchcock does not show a dependence on the genre as do other films. By observing common themes throughout Alfred Hitchcock's works, we understand the importance of shot composition and arrangement outweighs the importance of the genre. As we have seen with the example of Expressionism, Hitchcock was influenced by many of his life actions. Hitchcock, therefore, did not appeal to his audience by developing a genre. Instead, he uses his film to relate to elements of his own life. Hitchcock's works also reflect his own attitude and style. For example, his opinion towards the Hollywood bands of the time can be seen in examples as this excerpt from North by Northwest.
Here, reach. Now. Come on, I've got you. Up.
I can't make it.
Yes, you can. Come on.
Larder.
Come along, Mrs. Thornhill.
Oh, Roger, this is silly.
I know, but I'm sentimental.
which depicts a couple kissing to a train entering a tunnel. Hitchcock's depiction of sexual undertones are persistent throughout his work, as he challenged the censorship throughout his career. There are also several recurrent themes that are present throughout Hitchcock's work. One of these themes is formed by Hitchcock's basic plot formations. These are the falsely accused man, the guilty woman, the psychopath, espionage and political image, and marriage. These formations are composed through specific film techniques. In a sense, Hitchcock's resilience against the censorship is a representation of his own attitude towards film. Hitchcock did more than invest himself. He single-handedly decided what the film was to resemble, therefore being an ideal model of the auteur theory.